I had grown used to silence. The walls of my tiny apartment had long since stopped feeling like a home and had become more like the edges of a prison cell. My world was small, just me, my books, and the faint hum of the city outside my window.
I wasn't always like this.
There was a time when laughter filled my days, when friends called, when life felt warm. But that was before. Before everything fell apart. Before trust was broken. Before I learned that being alone was safer than opening my heart to anyone who might leave. It was a stormy night when the knock came. A single, firm rap against my door. I froze. No one visited me. I hadn't ordered food. My neighbors never knocked. They barely acknowledged me in the hallways. For a long moment, I considered ignoring it, but something inside me stirred. Curiosity. A forgotten part of myself that remembered what it was like to let someone in. I stepped toward the door, my heartbeat picking up speed. "Who is it?" I called, my voice barely above a whisper. There was a pause before a deep voice responded. "Hey, sorry to bother you. My name's Ethan. I live across the hall. My power's out, and I was wondering if yours is working."
Ethan.
I had seen him a few times, passing in the hallway. Tall, dark hair, always wearing a leather jacket that made him look a little like he belonged in a different time. He had a quiet, brooding energy, the kind that made people curious but also a little wary. I hesitated before unlocking the door. The chain was still on as I cracked it open slightly. "Yeah, mine's working fine." He exhaled in relief. "Okay, good. I thought maybe it was the whole building. Guess it's just my bad luck." The hallway light flickered, casting shadows on his face. His expression was calm, but there was something else there, fatigue, maybe even frustration. "Do you need to call maintenance?" I asked, keeping my hand firm on the door. He shook his head. "Already left a message. Just figured I'd check. Sorry for disturbing you." I could have left it at that. Could have nodded and closed the door. But instead, something about the way he looked, like he wasn't just dealing with a power outage but something heavier, made me pause. "Do you want to wait inside?" The words left my mouth before I could second-guess them. "I mean, until they call back." His eyebrows lifted slightly, as if surprised. Then he nodded.
"Yeah,
if you don't mind." I unlatched the chain and opened the door fully, stepping aside as he walked in. It was the first time I had invited anyone into my apartment in over a year. He took in the space with a glance, his eyes moving over my bookshelves, the couch covered in a knit blanket, the small kitchen in the corner. "Nice place." "It's small." He shrugged. "Small can be nice." I motioned to the couch. "You can sit if you want." He hesitated only a second before lowering himself onto the cushions. I sat across from him in the chair I usually curled up in to read. For a moment, there was silence, just the sound of the rain tapping against the window. "You've lived here long?" he asked. "A couple of years," I said. "You just moved in a few months ago." He leaned back, stretching his legs out. Still figuring the place out. I nodded, not sure what else to say. I wasn't used to small talk anymore. It felt strange, like trying on an old sweater that didn't quite fit the way it used to. Ethan glanced at the bookshelf. "You read a lot?" I followed his gaze.
"Yeah.
It keeps me company." His lips quirked slightly. That's a good way to put it. Another pause settled between us, but it wasn't uncomfortable. If anything, it felt like a rare kind of quiet, one that wasn't heavy with loneliness but instead filled with the presence of another person who understood it. After a while, he pulled out his phone and checked it. No call yet. I glanced at the window. The rain had picked up, slamming against the glass. The wind howled through the cracks in the old building. "If the power's out in your place, you probably don't want to go back until it's fixed," I said. He exhaled.
"Yeah."
Not really looking forward to sitting in the dark. I hesitated before saying, "You can stay here for a while, if you want." He studied me for a moment, then nodded. "I'd like that." Something shifted in the air between us. Something unspoken but real. I didn't feel alone anymore. Not with him sitting there, not with the quiet understanding that passed between us. And for the first time in a long time, I didn't want to be.